In conversation with Mahogany Clark, veteran author and writer Mahogany Clark is 24 years of age and from Miami, Florida. She has self-published 5 books: Self-Love, A Cup of Family Tea, Somebody Always Loves You, 4 Ways to Market Your Book, Product and Services, and Self-Love now releases July 1st, 2024. She didn't have it easy in life, but she always persevered and made a way to become who she is today. She writes and speaks to inspire others so they know they are not alone. She has found purpose, peace, and happiness through writing and sharing and writings with the world extra sherry and top. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today, Mahogany Clark. How are you doing, Mahogany?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing very fine too. It's lovely actually to have you on the show today. Quite exciting. We're gonna be having a conversation around your works.
Yes.
So Mahogany, I see that you've written quite a lot of titles and they're quite commendable actually when I check through them on Amazon. But then I would like us to start today's conversation with one of your titles, which I found the description of it to be quite compelling and alluring. And that's the name of A Cup of Family Tea. Could you tell us about the making of it? What inspired you to write A Cup of Family Tea?
Yes. A Cup of Family Tea. That was the second book that I produced while I was in the
Mm.
military, and that book is more about my life from childhood till I joined the army. Basically,
Mm.
I kind of just share some personal things about my life, kind of where I came from, um, some traumatic situations from my childhood, and basically how I kind of overcame those, and I was able to still join the military and make it a stepping stone.
Mm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's quite lovely, and I love the fact, and I love the title itself, A Cup of Family Tea. Sounds quite fun, like a fun read. Yeah. And you also have another title and the name of, and please, but just before I move on to my next question, if you have a copy of the book there, that's A Cup of Family Tea. I'd love you to show it to the camera just so we can see what it looks like.
Oh yeah, this is what it looks like.
Oh, I love the dining cover, this. Would you like to talk about the cover and even how the title come to be? Do you have an inspiration behind that too?
Yes. So the cover is it's a dining room, kind of like how family when they have
Yeah,
dinners, stuff like
yeah.
that, but there's a broken glass because it basically symbolizes the kind of childhood that I had, which was
Oh,
not that wasn't, the best or like it wasn't let me see, the most healthy. That's what I should say. And
okay.
basically, broken glass is supposed to symbolize that. The title, "A Cup of Family Tea," came from I came up with it originally when I first like thought about writing the book, like what kind of title should I put for it?
Mm,
Because I do kind of talk about some things from my family in the book.
mm,
And that's kind of how the tea part, because tea is kind of like gossip, kind of like, but it's not really
yeah,
gossip, but it's a form of. So that's where the tea part came in, and then families, and then cup of family tea.
that's
So that's how the
great.
title
Yeah, I
yeah.
love I love hearing about that. Thank you for sharing. And now you also have another title in the name of Somebody Always Loves You. For readers who
Yeah.
haven't read that yet, and without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect in terms of themes picking up Somebody Always Loves You? And if you have a copy there, I'd love you to show to the camera, just so we see what it looks like too.
Yes, so that's my children's
Oh,
book.
children's book.
Um,
Beautiful.
this was actually my favorite book to write
Oh.
because when I wrote it, I was really happy. Um, I was in a happy mood, and it didn't come from a
Mm.
place of pain like the rest of my books,
Oh,
really. So that was my favorite book to write. And Somebody Always Loves You is basically it's supposed to encourage a child that somebody always loves them, no matter
Yeah,
what is going on. Because
absolutely.
I mean, I remember being a child and just not feeling at times, not feeling loved or not feeling like I have a purpose here or
Mm,
those type of thoughts. So I know children around the world do have those same thoughts, and that's
yeah.
basically what the book is supposed to encourage them to not feel that way. You know,
That's great. More like encourage them to love themselves, to have this self inner love, and to let them know that somebody always loves them. That's quite a great
right?
one, really. And I think that would also help to improve their self-esteem, yeah, while growing up. That's quite very important, you know. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for mentioning. Quite very great. And now you also have another title. You know, I keep saying you have another title, you have another title, you know. You've written so many already. You also have another title in the name of self-love, which I think would, and I'm not sure if it's a bit similar to the first one you just talked about, but would you like to also tell us a bit about the making of self-love?
Yes. The first one, I believe, yeah, self love. Like this, is my first book.
Mm.
Um, this one right here. That was my very first book because I have two titles that's similar, so
Oh,
kind of it can be a little confusing. But self love
oh,
was my very first book that I written when I was in the military. It's a poetry free form written kind of book. It
oh.
was at the time I came up with it because I was always writing things down or like in my journal, or sometimes I would write things and post it on social media.
Mm.
So I started to realize, okay, maybe I do have some form of like passion or purpose for writing instead
Yeah.
of just writing. So I took basically writing a bit more serious, and I decided to put it into a book
Mm.
to see how see if to basically spread the word around the world, my words around the world too, so that other people that can relate can
Yeah.
know that they're not alone, and we all kind of go through the same things. Just telling my story basically.
Absolutely. That's great. That's good. And you know, as we were talking, answering that, a question just popped up in my head. You know, you have the first book still a bit on the theme of love, I'd say, and here you have self-love. You have another one, somebody always love you. Why do you kind of, will I say, have to preach the news of love? Why do you always love expounding on the theme of love in your writing? Is it anything that inspired that a bit in your works, in your literary works? Would you love to talk about that?
Yes, I didn't notice that too after writing them. It's not really on purpose, which is funny, but it is like a big. It's been a big. I would say it's been a big challenge for me in life. I would say maybe it started from when I didn't
Oh,
feel love growing up.
wow.
So I think it stemmed from that, and then me not knowing how to love my own self, basically,
Mm,
and learning to, but realizing that I didn't, and then learning to actually understand the meaning of it and live it and
mm,
stick by it and grow through it and actually like embody the meaning of self-love, loving myself, and not just loving outside of myself. So it
mm,
has been a big love has been a big love has been a big thing for me. I remember growing up, it was the most important thing to me. But now, I mean, it's not anymore. It's more like respect, I would say. But
mm.
and then my loving my own self, that's more important to me now. But before,
Absolutely.
if anybody had asked me what like I would prefer, like love or money, I definitely say love, or like, or if it was respect, love, I would always start with love. So
Mm.
it was a big deal to me. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great one, really. I just feel a bit tempted to ask as to how the team of love come to be. Thank you for answering. I love the sound of it. And now, you know, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. And I'm curious to ask you about your opinion about criticism. How do you react to, you know, feedbacks of your books, especially the negative one? I'm not quite sure if you've ever had one in time past, but then how would you handle criticism as a writer? Would you love to talk about that?
Yes. Yeah. So I did have a moment where my books I had to have them revised because they were not grammarly correct.
Oh,
Um, and I thought they were because who I published through at the time, they informed me that they had revised them, but they didn't, and I basically had to pay extra to someone else to revise the books for me, and so I could re-upload them.
yeah,
Um, and I mean, I would say that's the only negative criticism that I received about my books, and I did have it fixed. And but it's like, you're learning, you learn through self-publishing, and
yeah,
mistakes happen, and you learn how not to rush things, or like
absolutely.
I was in a rush. I was in a heavy rush. I remember when I was like actually my first three books, even the children's book, I was like more like I was just so excited to get completed with the
Mm,
process. So it wasn't
yeah,
like a rush, like I didn't care. It was just more like, okay, dang, I'm ready to see the book. I'm ready to see what it looks like. So it was like I'm ready to see it come to life. And I'm not really
yeah,
thinking about you know, the everything about the book. So the interior and everything, the manuscript, all that good stuff. So
yeah.
it did hurt a lot actually. I was like kind of like I was like I was like so I was slightly embarrassed. You know how like you have an embarrassed moment, or you're doing something that you get caught doing something embarrassing, or like your heart kind of dropped. That's how I felt when
Yeah,
I was told that. Yeah, so it did kind of hit home a little bit because it's my work, so I'm quite sensitive about it. So, but I did have it
yeah.
fixed. I didn't take the criticism, and I didn't reject it, or I didn't respond negatively. I just
Mm,
responded positively and had it fixed. So.
absolutely. I can actually relate to that. I can relate to the feeling of wanting to have your book out and you cannot wait. I think the same thing happened to my Fox published book, 2020. Actors of the Till today, I'm still about to, well, I've sent it to the editor. They've recorrected it. They sent it back to me. I just haven't had the time to fix all of the errors being sent back to me. But then it was published 2020 and I was quite excited. Yeah, I wanted to have my book out there. I'm going to become an author, etc. So I didn't pay attention to the dimension the book is going to be in until I have everything published. And when I ordered a copy from Amazon, I was quite surprised to see something very big. It's in 8.5 by 11 dimension, which is quite very odd. Looks like a drawing book. So it was so big. Instead of it to be in a shape like this, 6 by 9. So I was like, oh my
Mm.
goodness, I never knew all of these things. So, but then when I did my second work, that's a very great improvement. The third, the fourth,
Right.
the fifth, the sixth. But then I was like, oh, I need
Right.
to go back and revisit my first published work. I need to republish it again. Yeah, so I
Hmm.
understand that feeling, the excitement of you having your work out there. And it's actually a very beautiful feeling to you, especially if you have a new book, to have it in your hands, feel it. It's as if you have a baby out there. It brings this kind
Right.
of inner joy out of you that,
Yeah.
yeah, this is my work. It looks
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, it's actually a very lovely thing, really. Thank you for sharing. I love your take on that.
Oh yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. Now let's talk about inspirations and ideas. I've always been surprised about how writers like yourself, craft long sentences and bring words together in a way that it eventually makes a great book. And someone like you who have written in different genre, including that of children's literature, I would love to ask you, how do you get the inspirations and ideas for your books? Where did they come from?
Yes. So that's another good one. My books normally they just kind of come out of nowhere. I get
Mm,
the idea, or it's something that's on my heart, or it's something that I've been going through, or if I'm feeling down and I've been feeling down for a while, or I'm having one of those moments in life where everything's changing and I'm losing people or friendships,
mm,
relationships, things like that. Like the writing process or writing a new book has always kind of grounded me. It always made me feel happy. It always gave me a sense of purpose. Like regardless of if it's sold or not, I was just
mm,
happy. I still feel the same way.
yeah.
It gives me something to look forward to. So really, the ideas, yeah, they come from the heart. Really, they don't just. I don't really just sit down and just kind of be like, And what can I, because that's how you get writer's block too. Sometimes it
Yeah,
can be hard to write something. Yeah, if you're trying to force
absolutely.
like the idea and stuff like that. So mine's come naturally, so I'm kind of happy about that.
Mm,
I don't just like make up things, if that makes sense. So
yeah, yeah. Thank you. I love your take on that. Thank you. Now, apart from the books we've mentioned so far, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
yes, I do. I have my book Self Love Now, the new one. This book right here.
Oh, beautiful.
This
And that's
book,
you in the cover, even.
yes, that's me. Yeah.
Oh,
It releases July 1st. It's This book is actually a quote book, so it's different from my very first one called Self Love, which was more of a poetry free form writing
mm.
book. But this book is a quote book. So it's just more like snapshot word moments of the
Oh,
thoughts and feelings and things that I went through while on the journey to learning to love myself. It's the good, the bad, the ugly. Like,
mm.
so I get pretty deep in the book. It's pretty raw. I didn't really hold back in this one. So I just kind of went through, I literally like the thoughts and feelings that I've had. You can see them right in this book, and you can see how they got better over time, why
Mm.
they got better over time. And it ends off, very encouraging. So
That's
I'm very
great.
excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I want to say congratulations on that, really. Sounds quite
Thank
lovely to
you.
me. Thank you for mentioning. Now, I know that with every author, we have different experiences with publishing and what we think of it. Now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing your books and also ever since it got published?
Um, so in terms of the publishing process for me, when I first started out, I still self-published. Like all my books are self-published, and I uploaded them myself
Mm,
to the Amazon, Ingram, those different sites so I can get the work out there. But when I first started, I would say the company that I went through that actually helped me with the cover, they helped me create an account for
yeah,
Amazon and Ingram. And so I had more, help. It was like the start of everything. I didn't know how to upload my manuscript, or I didn't know what
oh,
the interior was called, or how the cover, paperback cover needed to look,
yeah,
the ebook, the ebook interior, having to
yeah,
have the pages, I forgot what it's called, embedded, yeah, having the pages embedded so that the fonts,
yeah,
is the same when it uploads and all that good stuff. I learned, yeah, a lot. Really, I learned a lot over time by myself, just YouTube, Google. Believe it or not, like if I just needed to know something, how to upload something, how to do something, I did it
mm,
that way. But I did start out with help through the company that I published through. They showed me how to basically be an independent author, because that's what I told them I wanted to
mm,
be from the beginning. And
yeah,
after that, I started to do it on my own. Eventually I stopped working with the company, and I did my first ebook on my own. So that one it was just the ebook. It wasn't the paperback, because I couldn't get the paperback to upload correctly. And it finally, like
oh,
honestly, this year it actually finally worked, which is kind of odd because
oh,
it was just approved through Ingram, and I was waiting all that time, and it just wouldn't go through. But now it has gone through, so I ordered a copy of that to see what it's gonna look like. But for a long time,
oh,
it was just the ebook, and it was kind of my first thing I did by myself. Then now everything after that, like this book that I just showed, that one I did that entire one by myself. The
wow.
idea, yeah, all that good stuff. So it got better, like with each book over time.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually lovely, really. I love your take on that. It's quite beautiful. Self-publishing can be quite fun at times, yeah. Thank you for mentioning. And now, as a published author, what sort of advice do you offer other writers who are still struggling with writing and publishing a book in your genre? What would you advise people in this category?
Yeah. So my advice, usually even when people come and ask me in my inbox or they ask me in person, about writing, how to start,
Mm,
I always give them the blueprint, the basics, which you could come up with an idea. It can be natural ideas. Some people don't have to naturally come up with things. Sometimes people are just very creative and they can come up with something on the spot and
yeah,
they can take it and they can build off that. So if you're
yeah,
that kind of person, then you can definitely do that too. You just start with the idea, start with the title, then you think about the cover, then you do the interior, then you have it revised, all that good stuff. Then you have your paperback
yeah.
set up, and then that's when you get to uploading it, then the promotion, which is really the toughest part of
Mm,
the book, of it, especially if you're self-published, because
yeah,
there's nobody else pushing your book. Nobody's going to push your book like you are. Nobody's going to have the
yeah.
same motivation that you should have for your work. You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
yours.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like what you said, your baby is yours. You know what I'm saying? So
You have to feed it.
yeah, like nobody's gonna know if you don't say anything, and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So every time you thought about doing something and you didn't do it, you
Mm,
probably missed out on something, even though
absolutely.
it does get a little tough or it does get a little discouraging sometimes, especially if your point is because everybody has different reasons.
Yeah.
Sometimes they want to hit, a lot of sales and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
then like all that good stuff. So it's like you just have to fall in love with the journey of it, the everything about it, not just the end goal. So I would say that, is just you start small, you start from square one. And I will also say everybody's writing journey is different. It's not the
Yeah.
same for everybody. The way if you
Absolutely.
talk to different people, how
Yeah.
they came about with their books, how did they come to write their books. It's actually a little bit different. Everybody's story is a
Yeah.
little bit different. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And that also differs, a difference pertaining to the genre that someone is writing. For someone who is writing a fiction story, the writing process is different from someone who is writing a poetry collection. The writing process of that also is different from someone who is writing a memoir. And on and on and
Right.
on it keep going. We have different writing process with different series and different, book category, etc. Yeah, thank you for your advice, and I'm hoping that viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. Yeah. Before we round up today, is there anything you would love the viewers to know about your books that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
Um, I would love for the viewers to know that writing makes me happy, and
Mm,
I do find a purpose in it, and I look forward to it. Like even when I just start a project, I do look forward to sharing it. I do look forward to getting it out there, the process
mm,
of it. So I'm happy doing this, like regardless. I
yeah.
will say that, but also too that if they do happen to come across any of my books, I do hope that it's relatable, as I claim it to be, because I always claim that my books are relatable. They
Mm,
do inspire others. They do help others. Honestly, even if they don't read my books, sometimes people just seeing the fact that I'm so passionate about something that's different or something that's not the norm, people
mm,
actually start to pour into their own passions of different things that they wanted to do. I've gotten messages like that in the past where they told
yeah.
me just pushing my own passions behind what makes me happy, what I love, has made them want to pursue something that they love, even if it has nothing to do with
Mm,
books. So
yeah.
say that even if you don't write books or you don't want to write a book or if you're thinking
Yeah.
about it, if you are passionate or happy about something, I say definitely pursue it. I mean, because why not? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
Mm,
if you love it and it makes you happy, I say you definitely should. You should
yeah.
push.
Thank you so much. That's such an amazing and great advice, and I love the sound of it. And now, just in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview and would love to get a copy of any of your books, on what platform are they available on for purchase?
You can find my books on Amazon. I know Ingram puts them in other
Ingram
places.
Sparks, yeah.
Yeah, they do, but it's like I can't remember all the places that they put them in. But
Bookstores, actually. I think bookstores around the United States. Ingram Spark distribute to bookstores around the United States.
Right. Yeah, they do. Well, they also put it this time because I know from my most recent book, they did put it also in different countries of
Yeah.
Amazon. So it's not just the US, it's like Japan, it goes like into all of
Wide
them. So it's
distributions.
available like over, yeah. But
Yeah.
Amazon will definitely be like a big one because I know everybody's familiar with that one
Yeah.
too. But you can also Google my book and it pops up in different places and you can order from those sites too.
Yeah, and I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Mahogany Clark's books directly on Amazon and also another platform. So thank you so much, Mahogany, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation around your works.
Yes, thank you for having me on. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's my pleasure as well. Thank you.